there, and welcome back to the Tapping Fix. So in the last video, I kind of started talking to you about ways to strengthen your setup statement. And if you remember, the setup statement is when you're using your karate chop and your statements that you use when you begin to tap on your points, and how to go a little deeper with those and make them a little bit stronger. It's easier said than done too. It's not like it's, there isn't a by rote way to do this, because we're all individuals and we're all unique. So the good news about this is that, it's okay to experiment and see what works for you. There is no bad news on that one. At the same time, some of the clients I've worked with, their biggest problems are, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, when you're leading me through something, or I go to YouTube and I look on a video and I see they're tapping and I can totally go along with them, and yeah, and I get it done, and then I go home and I'm all pumped and I think, all right, it's time for me to peel this back and make this really unique to myself. And then you start like this and you go, even though, and then you freeze. And you're like, even though I have this pain. And then you think, ugh, that's not good enough. That's not specific. Or you go to the points and you're okay at first, right? You start off and you're like, this pain, all this pain, this pain I'm having. You get to like this point right here and this point, and you've said this pain 4 times, and you've said this pain I'm having, and you said this other stuff, and you're not done yet. There's more tapping to do, but you're done and you have no idea what else to say. So what I'm trying to do now is give you some more ideas to go a little bit deeper. Of course, later on in my videos, I intend to do actual tapping scripts with you where we pick an issue and, we go through these issues, and I'll tap it out with you. And, if you're having trouble figuring out what to say, it will definitely give you, a good starting point. And then you might be able to, tweak it where you come up with a word that sounds better to you, or a phrase, or something that really sinks home. And that's awesome. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But what I'm trying to do in these starter videos, these kind of video shorts that I'm doing right now, are giving you some ideas to utilize so that when you are on your own, maybe you don't have your full tapping sequence down yet, but maybe you're putting together pieces of a puzzle, and maybe I can help you to put these together by giving you different things to focus on. So when you're coming up with a tapping sequence, or you're trying to find out what was bothering you, in the last video I was talking about the fact that, left is receiving and right is giving. So obviously if you're having some pain on your left side, it might be something that you're having trouble receiving, taking in, something coming at you. If you're having trouble on your right side, it might be something that you're having trouble giving your time, your energy, your emotional being to somebody, right? These are things that give you a deeper layer, of what to look for. So another thing that you might want to consider is that the left side is universally feminine and the right side is universally masculine. So if you're having pain on like your left shoulder, you might look to your mother or sisters, or a feminine boss maybe, or a feminine vibe that you've got going on in your life. These are all ways that you can look at things and see how they combine to make whatever problem that you've got showing up. Most of the time sometimes it does happen out of nowhere. Yes, comes out, whoop, boom, there it is. Okay, but other times, even though you might not be aware of it, it's been sort of building and adding upon itself in layers, and then here it is, this problem that you have. And when you go back and you think about it, you think, oh, I guess it didn't really start yesterday. I guess I have been having some of these problems, and they're just getting progressively more, abundant in my life. They're getting progressively noticeable. My body is now saying, hey, stop what you're doing. This is hurting. I'm not going to stop until you stop and help me figure this out. So let's take a look at that then. How do we go about learning how to listen to our body better if we're not used to doing that at all. So, first of all, there are a number of different ways you can do this, okay? You can get yourself in a nice quiet place, take a few deep breaths, get some, whatever type of music it is that does it for you on, get yourself in a decent state, and then you can simply ask it, hey, body, what are you trying to tell me from this? What is it? What is this pain trying to say? You might get a much more clear answer than you think you're going to get. The only thing is, don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen for you right away. I tend to be a very logical person, and when I first started asking these questions of myself for my own healing, and I first started trying to do, visualizations and all of these things that I've learned how to do now, basically, this is what would happen to me. I'd take a deep breath, okay, I'm getting myself set up and getting ready, and then I would say to myself, body, and, this sarcastic, pain in the butt sarcasm feature that I have would go, yes. And so I'd be like, and then I'd say, where is it that you're hurting and what does it mean? And I'd get like, my pinky toe, it's hurting in my pinky toe. And, my eyes would flip open and I'd be like, okay, obviously the sarcastic person inside myself is not going to allow me to really know what's going on. But if you relax enough and you get past the idea that your psyche sometimes is a trickster, you've been having these patterns that you've had in your life for a really long time. And sometimes when you turn around and you finally decide that you're going to turn a light bulb on and go looking in places you haven't looked in before and be like, hey, body, what's going on? It's not like your body may just automatically be like, well, actually, I'm so glad you came to me today because your knee is hurting because you're having trouble walking forward into your future. It's total fear, and all you need to do is tap on fear in the future, and I will fix myself right up. I wish it was that simple. And some people really do find that process a little more simple. But in case you're like me, in case you have a sarcastic voice inside your head that doesn't always want to play nice and that sometimes wants to be a little more of a jokester than you're in the mood for when you're really, really searching for some answers, here are some things you can do. Keep trying. First of all, do not get frustrated. Close your eyes. Sometimes the best time to ask is either when you're falling asleep and you're kind of in that off state, or when you first wake up in the morning and you're not quite awake yet. Sometimes you save that question right for then, and don't be surprised if something pops into your head, but it's not something that's like a verbal, like a perfect sentence, okay? Maybe you get a color that pops into your head. Maybe you get a feeling that pops into your body. All of those are awesome. Let's say you get a color. Let's say you say to yourself, body, please open up to me. I know I've not been listening. I really want to hear what you're telling me. Could you please give me any indication as to why this back pain won't go away? Now let's say you get the color red, and it's fiery and it's red. Then the next time you're tapping, you're going to add in that color red. You're going to add in, I'm seeing this color red. This color red is involved in my low back. Somehow it's involved in my low back. See if something else doesn't pop into your mind. If it doesn't, you can always say, letting go of this color red, letting it go, letting it come out of my back, releasing it back to the universe, right? Let's say you get a feeling. Let's say you're not a very visual person. Let's say you don't get a picture, a Polaroid, or a perfect little snapshot of what you need to do. Let's say that you say to yourself, okay, body, my neck has been hurting now on the right side. I can't turn my head. And I'm doing the tapping, I'm doing all this stuff, and it's not shifting like I want it to. Please, what do you need me to do? What is it you need from me to release this? And let's say you get a feeling of fear. So you just feel afraid, or you feel confused. Confusion's a good one too. So then the next time you're tapping, you would say, in your tapping, you would say, I have this pain in my back, this pain in my lower right side of my back or my neck. We were talking about our neck, of course. And you would say to yourself, and I feel all this fear. It feels like fear is stuck in my neck. Fear is residing right here on my right shoulder, right? Then when you get to the rounds where you're letting it go, you would basically just say, I am freeing this feeling of fear from my body. I'm freeing it from the right side of my neck. I'm letting it go back where it came from, right? So you can see how when you're tapping, you can take these little cues that you're getting from your body, and even if it's not giving you, these perfect, easy sentences, it'll almost always give you something, right? For me, obviously, it started off sarcastic because I'm a sarcastic person, and that's kind of how I live and learn. And, eventually, with my neck, I have some chronic neck issues. And with my neck, I had a feeling of pressure because I kept saying, I know I'm not great at listening to you. I'm used to just powering through, right? That's how I used to do everything. If something was hurting, I'm going to power through it. Doesn't matter what my body's telling me. As long as I'm not, flat out, I'm going. I'm going, going, going. Well, what happened was I ended up flat out and not going anywhere whatsoever. And I had to really reconcile with the fact that I was not giving my body something that it genuinely needed emotionally in order to physically get past something that it was facing. And, I wasn't used to talking to my body. So when I started talking to it, it was kind of a trickster with me. It didn't just say, hey, this is what it is. But I kept asking and I kept trying, and I got the word pressure. And then I got the sound. I got a sound actually, which I'm not used to being an auditory person that way. I tend to feel things more. I'm hurting, I'm this, I'm that. I don't always see things like visual people do, and I don't always get an auditory cue. Then I heard the sound like psh, like when there's pressure being released from like a steamer when it comes out the top and you can hear it go psh. So when I was doing my tapping, I started with my pain, started with how that was making me feel, and during my tapping session, I went deeper because I was able to say, somewhere or another, I've got this pressure. I've got this pressure, and it's stuck here. It is stuck in my body, and it's not what I want. It's not what I was trying to create, and so I was saying to myself, this is what I need to let go of. So when I got to the let go, I would actually visualize while I was tapping a pressure cooker on the back of my neck. And then every now and then, as goofy as it may sound, I would go psh. So after each round, I would do that, and I could actually feel the pressure coming off, my neck. And so these are the things that you can use. Don't be afraid of them. If you're an auditory person and you're not coming up with anything asking your body what's happening to you, see if it'll give you a sound, a song, a sound, anything that'll get you something to go a little deeper and to start with. Usually you can unlock other things if you can get that method of learning that you have that's very comfortable. If it can give you a picture, fabulous. God, sometimes that's, right in front of your eyes. Here it is. If not, see if you can get a feeling. Where is this feeling? How strong is it? Really hone in there. Is it soft? Is it hard? Is it light? Is it strong? What is this feeling you're having? Is it total chaos? Is it confusion? All of these things just add to your tapping and help you get the emotional release that your body needs to let some of these physical illnesses get out. Because what's happening is, if you're anything like I was and still am sometimes, I tend to take everything from the outside put it in here, and then stuff it in my body where it doesn't belong. And it's only through the use of these tapping modalities and other things that I'm going to talk to you here about that I've been able to find a tool to get them out, get them back out, and take my life back so that I'm not flat out wondering what's going on. Another method you can use is journaling, and we'll go over that in another video. Don't be afraid to journal. Don't be afraid to ask it outright. Don't be afraid to sit in front of the mirror, look yourself straight in the face, and see if something comes out, okay? So I hope that if nothing else, this just gives you a launch pad of ideas. I mean, hopefully you'll listen to this video and something will hit for you. You'll think, oh my God, you know, like I didn't even think about this, but it's my left arm. So it's my aunt, you know, Aunt Audrey, and she's bugging the crap out of me, and I didn't even think about that. And so as I'm tapping on my left arm, I can then say, what is up with Aunt Audrey? Why is this happening? And basically what that will do is give you this other dimension that your body's been trying to get you to recognize all along. But unfortunately for most of us, we don't listen until our body gets to a state where it forces us to listen. So please, hopefully anything on here has been useful for you. And, you know, I hope to see you again. And until next time, thank you so much.